Hi everyone. Today we are getting to a new topic that is related to commerce, for especially senior or junior intermediate CSC. Yeah, what's the topic? For example, if your mama asked to bring 1 kg of onions, you went to market nearby shop. Okay, you asked the shopkeeper to give 1 kg of onions. He has given to you, and what you have paid to him? You have paid amount in respect to of onions. Okay, so in that action, what thing had happened? What happened? Okay, you are the buyer and the shopkeeper is the seller. So what happened was the transaction had done, buying and selling had taken place. Okay, so the action of buying and selling is known as trade. Okay, are you able to understand? The action of selling and buying goods and services is known as trade. In ancient days, nowadays, if you want to buy anything, you are paying money for their services or goods. But when the money was not existed in the society, how the trade had done, how the business transactions were. Are you interested to learn, to know about that? I think everybody knows that in ancient days a system was in practice. That is barter system. What do you mean by barter system? Barter system is nothing but exchange of goods and services. Exchange of goods and services. Not for money, just for exchanging their goods and services. For example, I have 10 quintals of rice with me. My friend Sudha have had 10 quintals of pulses with her. Okay, I need pulses. She needs rice. Then what should I do? What should both of us will do? I'll give 2 bags of rice to her and she'll give 2 bags of grain pulses to me. So we both are exchanging the goods. Exchanging the goods. That is nothing but barter system. In my childhood, I had seen that we engaged maids at our home. So, irrespective of their services, we used to give some bags of grains, food grains to them per annum. So, the agreement between the owner and the worker was like that. For entire year, he had to provide his services towards us. But we are paying 5 bags or 6 bags of rice to him. Okay, so that is a mode of transactions in ancient days. So now in the total scenario, what you understood, the meaning of trade is nothing but action of selling and buying of goods and services. Okay. So in this selling and buying activity, some people are involved. Who are they? Actually, in the previous transaction, what you have seen, Sudha went to shop, means to buy something. So she is a buyer. The shopkeeper is selling something to Sudha. So the shopkeeper is seller. Okay. So to complete the transaction of buying and selling, first what should we know need? The things we need, the onions we should have with us. So for buying or selling, the production must be needed. The person who produces the goods is known as manufacturer, and the person who is utilizing them is known as customer. So here the trade transaction between manufacturer and customer directly. Okay, sometimes manufacturer may not sell his goods directly to the customer. In middle, one more person will be involved. Who is that? Retailer. For example, I am the manufacturer of cloth. I have bales of clothes with me, but I need to sell them in various parts of our country. So what should I do? Am I able to go everywhere throughout the country? No, I am unable. So then what should I do? I used to engage some people to sell my products in the various places of the country. So the manufacturer, the producer of the goods used to sell his goods directly to the retailer, not to the consumer. So this retailer, what he will do? He will take the goods and he will sell those goods to the directly final consumer. Okay. The retailer here, the retailer is known as middleman. He was as a bridge between manufacturer and customer. Okay, and then one more person also involved in this trade. Who are they? Manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer and consumer. Okay, so manufacturer, the person who produces the goods is known as manufacturer, as we discussed previously. And wholesaler, who is wholesaler? This wholesaler will buy the goods in lots, in huge amount of quantities. The wholesaler will buy the goods from manufacturer. So what purpose, in what purpose he used to buy that lots of goods? He will divide the goods in smaller units to sell them to retailer. So is retailer is utilizing all the goods? No, for resale purpose. For resale purpose. Who is the final consumer? Customer is the final consumer. So in between the produced goods, while they are goods are reaching to the final consumer, in between we have two more middlemen. Who are they? Wholesaler and retailer. So these are the persons who involved in trade. Okay. Now we'll discuss the types of trades. How many types of trades we have? One is internal trade and external trade. Internal trade. What do you mean by internal trade? Okay. Internal means in between, within us. So internal trade, another name is home trade or domestic trade. Internal trade means the trade within the boundaries of a country is known as internal trade. What do you mean by external trade? The trade between two or more countries is known as external trade. Okay, is it clear? And then now coming to that internal trade, we have two more subdivisions in internal trade. What are they? Wholesale trade and retail trade. Okay, we'll discuss these two types of trade in detail in next slides. Okay, now coming to that external trade, we have three types of external trade. What are they? Export trade, import trade and entry-port trade. Okay, what do you mean by export trade? Export trade means the things whatever we produced in our country, after utilization of our people, the excess goods can be sold in other countries. The excess good, the excess production will be sold in other countries. We are exporting them to other countries. That is export trade. Import trade, where we are lagging, in which product we are unable to produce sufficiently to our country, we will buy them from other countries. We will buy them from other countries. That is nothing but import trade. Okay, and entry port trade. This is the third type of external trade. What is that? Entry port trade. In this entry port trade, more than two countries are involved. Okay, so here in export and import trade, only two countries are involved. But while coming to the external entry port trade, more than two countries are involved. For example, I exported a cloth to X country. The X country will not use that product, that cloth in their respective country. They will export to other country. They will export to other country. Okay. Thus X company works as a bridge between me and another country. Okay. So the trade between more than two countries, a country which buy the goods to sell in other countries. The country which buy the goods to sell them in another country. That is called entry port trade. Today's our topic is internal trade. What do you mean by internal trade and what are the features of internal trade? We are going to see. So what are the features? How the internal trade should be. So which type of trade can be called as internal trade? Okay, trade within a nation. Trade within a nation is called internal trade. Trade within a nation means, what do you mean by a nation? Every country has its own boundaries, right? For example, for our India, what are the boundaries? In north, Jammu and Kashmir. In south, Kanyakumari. In west, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana. These are the states. And while coming to the east, these are the states. Arunachal Pradesh, northeast states. Some seven sisters are there. So between all these boundaries, physical, geographical boundaries only, the trade should take place. That type of trade can be known as internal trade. Means that trade, the buying and selling transactions should not go out of the country. Those buying and selling activities must be within the country. That type of trade is known as internal trade. So another feature of internal trade is free exchange of goods. What do you mean by free exchange of goods? Okay, so for example, the trade is nothing but it's a transaction between buyer and seller. Okay, within a country, we can sell or buy our goods and services freely. Well, there will be no restrictions, very less government interference will be there. No goods is banned. Every goods we can sell and we can buy within the country. We can freely complete our trade transactions, perform our trade transactions within the country. So that is known as free exchange of goods. And single currency. For example, here you may buy 100 one notebook for 20 rupees. If you may buy, you will give only 20 rupees note or 10 rupees notes, isn't it? If you may go to Jammu and Kashmir, you buy a notebook for 20 rupees, you will give same rupees, 10 rupees, 10 rupees notes or 120 rupee note, right? Isn't it? If you may go to Tamil Nadu also, you will pay the same amount in the, price might be varies, but the currency will not be changed at all. We will pay the amount within our country in the form of rupees only, which is the standardized currency of our country. But in foreign trade, the currency will be varies from one country to another. If you are going to trade with America, you will pay or you will receive in dollars. You will pay or receive in dollars. If it is in UK and some other. If it is in Saudi Arabian countries, that is some other currency. So in that way, within the country, the currency uniformity will be there. And then simplified trade procedure. Very simplified trade procedure will be there in internal trade. How means in this we need a very less documentation, very less government formalities. We can complete our trade formalities easily. And then simple taxes. So what do you mean by simple taxes? If it is in foreign trade, we need to pay more taxes like excise duties, customs duties and so on. If it is in internal trade, we need to pay only sales tax. That is also in very less amount of the currency. So but whenever you have to remember one point here, whenever the taxes are high, automatically product cost also be high. It is not affordable to all the people. Whenever the taxes are less, automatically the cost also be reduced. It will be in low price. So it is affordable to all. So internal trade is more affordable to all the people within the country. And methods of payment. Within a country, our trade can be performed in the form of cash or checks. For example, if I bought something from you, I need to pay amount. Without paying, so nobody will give us, right? That payment can be in the form of cash or check. Nowadays everything is going on by e-payments. That is a different issue. Transferring amount, NEFT, different various forms are there. Okay, if it is in foreign trade, it is some other way. We need to bills, discounts, so and so different types of forms are there. Okay, low transport cost. Okay, within a country, we can travel at anywhere, from anywhere to anywhere within a less span of time by investing very less amount. Okay, means we can use roadways. We can use roadways within a country. Every day we are seeing so many vehicles are moving from one place to another in respective to transport the goods from one place to another. Milk vans regularly we are seeing. In perishables also, in perishable items also within a country we can use roadways, which are the cheaper mean of transport. If it is in foreign trade, can perishables can be used or waterways or any other transport? No, we have to use only airways. Airways are very most expensive transport system. So these are all the price determination factors of a product. If transport costs are high, the businessman, the manufacturer, the person who sell the goods, he has to include all these costs in this product cost only. If he buy the product for 10 rupees, he had to add the things, his profit, transport costs and taxes, everything he need to add, and finally the cost of the product will be decided. So these are all the factors. If any factor costs high, automatically the product cost also be high. So but within the nation we can travel anywhere with less amount and in less span of less time. So the transport cost also very less, which is the most important feature of our internal trade. Free mobility of factors of production. What are the factors of production? To produce a thing, produce a goods, what do we need? We need land, water, electricity, manpower, capital, raw material, everything we need, right? These are all the factors of production. Can we move land from one place to another? Is it possible? No, not at all. Can we mobilize the people from one place to another? Yes, we can. Okay, the mobility of factors, the things, whatever we need to produce goods, whenever they are having free mobility from one place to another, it is easy in internal trade. If it is in foreign trade, mobility of people is very tough task. We need to take passports, visas, so many formalities are there. But within the country, we need not to go anywhere to get passports or visas. In this lockdown period, we observed that so many people are going faraway places to reach their relatives. So in our state, especially in Telangana, so the people are working from Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar. From those places, people are working here. They came from there and they are working here. So are they need any passports or visas? No, there are no restrictions within a country to travel from one place to another. Free mobility of uh, people, labor is available in internal trade, and capital also. So if you want to invest your amount in Telangana, you can. If you want to invest your money in Andhra, you can. If you want to invest your money in Tamil Nadu, you can. But within a country, very less restrictions, very less rules and regulations are applied for business. Why? Because within a country, a regional development is important for the government. So, government is encouraging the people to invest their money in within a country only. When the country's investment is more, when the people's investment is more in the country, automatically productivity will be more. When the productivity will be more, automatically GDP will increase. So within a country, mobility of factors of production is very high. If it is in foreign trade, it will be very less. We cannot mobilize the people, or we cannot invest our money in foreign countries very easily. What are the other features? There are two types of internal trade, as we discussed priorly, wholesale and retail, and very less government interference, very less documentation facility formalities, and operations are also confined to a limited area. So the things, the operations, the business transactions are limited for a limited area, limited for a particular area. Means only for a country. We cannot spread our business to foreign countries. These are all the features of internal trade. Now, what is wholesale trade? Wholesale trade is a branch of internal trade. It's a type of internal trade. So, what do you mean by wholesaler? Who are the person who purchases goods in bulk is known as wholesaler. The trade which is performed by that wholesaler is known as wholesale trade. Why he will purchase the goods in lots? Is he going to sell everywhere? No, he divides the stock into smaller units. He used to sell them into the various retailers of various places of the country. Okay, so wholesaler works as a medium, as a bridge between the manufacturer and retailer. What are the services he is providing? If I have any benefit or any advantages, then only I will engage a person, I will accept a person. So why? What are the benefits I am going to get from that wholesaler? As a manufacturer, as a retailer. As a manufacturer, what the benefits I am going to get from wholesaler? Let us see. So he allows large scale production. What do you mean by large scale production? Okay, whenever the orders are with me, then only I am going to produce the goods in large scale. Okay, being a manufacturer, what do I think? If without any order, if I produce lakhs of things in my godown, in my industry, what's the need of that? Without orders, without a buyer, what's the need? It's a very risky task to me, and I am putting more capital on that, then it will be in risk, it will be in loss, that business will be in loss. So before starting production only, I should get the customers, the wholesalers who will buy the stock in bulk. Okay, so the wholesaler will give assurance to the manufacturer for his products, for his produce. So in that way he allows large scale production. You have to remember one thing, if the production is in large scale, then only the profitability is more for the manufacturer. Why? Because if the production is very less, the production cost will be high. When the production quantity is increased, automatically production cost will be reduced. So in that way he allows large scale production. Who allows? Wholesaler allows large scale production. He is giving assurance to the manufacturer for large scale production. And risk bearing, what do you mean by risk bearing? So after producing the goods, manufacturer task has completed, then what will happen? Without buyer, what he will do with his stock? He can't do anything. So wholesaler, when the production had done, when the production had completed, immediately the wholesaler will come to the industry and he will lift his stock. So the risk, if it is sold out or not, that is the responsibility of wholesaler. It's not at all the responsibility of manufacturer. So the risk bearing factor, who is bearing risk here? Wholesaler only bearing the risk, not the manufacturer. And then one more thing, what is the other service provided by the wholesaler to the manufacturer? That is financial cooperation. What do you mean by financial cooperation? Finance means by monetary benefit. What is the monetary benefit? So before production starts, my wholesalers will give advances to the manufacturer for working capital. Okay, manufacturer had his own establishment like machinery, raw material, everything he had. But production cost also we need, not for production cost, fixed capital and working capital both are needed for production. So to fulfill his working capital needs, wholesaler pay the amount in advance. For example, I may order for 10 lakhs. In advance I used to give 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs according to the agreement between the manufacturer and wholesaler. Some amount, half of the amount I used to give in advance to the manufacturer for produce the goods. Okay, so like that the wholesaler is helping manufacturer by providing finance to his production. And another function is distribution function. What do you mean by distribution function? After completion of his production, is manufacturer going everywhere to sell his products? No. Distribution means produced goods should be reached to the final consumer. That is nothing but distribution of the goods. Who will do this task? Wholesaler will do that task. Okay, so that is also a task done by wholesaler, not by the manufacturer. And then one more facility he is providing, that warehousing. Warehousing means till the goods get demand or till they sold out, we need to safeguard the goods. We need to safeguard the goods. After completion of production, the wholesaler will lift the stock and he will warehouse, he will safeguard the goods, not the manufacturer. So to safeguard the goods, he needs a large area of godowns. But here, who is performing the task? Wholesaler is performing the task, not the manufacturer. Okay, these are all the services provided by the wholesaler towards manufacturer. As a retailer, what are the benefits I am going to get? For example, we have textile industry in Gujarat. Okay, so here everywhere we are getting cloth. In Hyderabad we are going to get cloth. In Mananur we are going to get cloth. In Khammam we are going to get cloth. Everywhere we are getting. So the production had done Gujarat. Then how we are getting all the everywhere within the country? How means, who are going to get this? Wholesalers of various areas will purchase the goods from manufacturer and he will sell the stock in small units to retailer. So retailer is going to buy the goods from wholesaler. So for retailer, what are the services the wholesaler will provide? So the wholesaler will give assurance to the availability of goods. For example, if I may go to one wholesaler regularly, I'll get the goods, things, whatever I required. I have faith on him. If I may go to particular that X wholesaler, I will get the things whatever I need. But if I for twice or thrice I may go to that wholesaler, he is unable to provide the things required to me. Am I go to that wholesaler next time? No. So, but wholesalers will give assurance to the availability of goods and expertise advice. So, those who are the experts in this trade, wholesalers are the experts. They will advise the people, retailers, for your area these type of goods are good. These types of goods are sold very easily, fastly. These will earn huge profits to you. In that way, which type of goods are sold in their respective areas will be given by wholesaler. And credit facilities. According to the personal relations between the wholesaler and retailer, wholesaler will provide credit facility to the retailer. For example, if I may go to the some ex wholesaler, I need 3 lakhs rupees stock, I will give only 2 lakhs to him. Remaining amount as per the agreement I will pay after 3 months or after 4 months or after completion of sales I will give. So in that way these credit facilities will be provided by the wholesaler. So here what we learnt in this slide, the services of wholesaler towards manufacturer and towards retailer. Okay, then now how the Indian retail, now we are coming to the retail trade. Already we discussed about wholesale trade and now coming to the retail trade. In ancient days, how the retail trade was. First, how the trade was. Weekly markets, santas, everywhere we are seeing right now, in everywhere, in every village, in every town, we are seeing that weekly markets. Weekly markets are nothing but santas. In that santas only, in that weekly fairs or village fairs only, they used to buy or sell the goods. In ancient days, that is only the mode of buying and selling. That is only the place of trade. But later on, people thought that why should we move from one village to another to sell our product? Why? Why shouldn't sit in a place to sell our goods? Like that, our street and shops, small kirana shops were existed. Okay, so then after these small pop kiranas, these people used to sell their goods according to their profitability. They will fix the prices, which is not affordable to all. Then government thought that, so everybody, if they have anything or not, whatever the work they are doing, are they earning more or not, irrespective of their cadre, irrespective of their income, everybody should have 3 meals per day. That is the motto of government, to eradicate poverty, hunger from our country. Then government thought that, why don't we provide food for the people? So through PDS system, public distributor system, government engage some shops. Through this system, they are selling provisions to the groceries to the BPL people, the people under below poverty line, for very fair prices, which secures the food of the BPL families. These are run by government, and some other shops also are running under government supervision. What are the cooperative stores and khadi stores? These are all run under the government monitoring. So what are the cooperative societies? We'll discuss in later. In nowadays, the trade, how the trade evoluted, first weekly markets, then after small kiranas, then after government shops, and then after nowadays we are seeing branded showrooms, departmental stores, supermarkets, malls, huge malls, everything what not. So in this way our retail trade has evoluted in rapid scale. Okay, we'll discuss everything in next slide. So how the retail scale trade has classified. Retail trade has classified under 4 categories. What are they? Size, handling goods, ownership and place. These are the criteria of classification of Indian retail trade. So we'll discuss every aspect in detail. Retailers on the basis of size. Size means here it doesn't depend upon the area. It depends upon the capital whatever we are investing in that particular business. If it is with less capital, it is Small scale retailer. He is known as small scale retailer. If you are doing business with a huge capital, you are known as large scale retailer. Here we can see small shops in street. These people, are they investing lakhs of rupees? 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs. Can you guess like that? No, these are all small scale retailers. And here in this above picture, what you are seeing here, we are seeing a big huge departmental stores where the wide range of variety you can see. You can have wide range of choice. These type of stores are needed a large capital. Okay, these we can say these people are known as large scale retailers. Okay, on the basis of size, the retailers are two types: small scale retailer and another is large scale retailer. And then on the basis of handling goods. So if I may go to Bata showroom, could I get clothes in that? No. They'll sell only footwear. They'll sell only footwear. If I may go to garment shop, could I get any other home needs? No. I'll get only garments in that shop. Means they are dealing with a similar type of goods, similar kind of goods, one kind of goods, that is known as specialized shops, specialty shops. Which type of shops are known as specialty shops? The shopkeeper who is dealing with one kind of goods is known as specialty shops, like footwear, garment shops, and pharmacies. These are all comes under this category. And here in another picture you are seeing a huge mall. Various stores are there and various types of shops you can see in this. They are dealing with wide range of products. If you enter in a mall, you can get everything from pin to pen. Okay, so garments you can get, provisionals you can get, perishables you can get, footwear you can get, stationery you can get everything in single step. These are all known as malls. They deal with wide range of products. So another type of shops also there. What are they? Second hand shops. What do you mean by second hand shops? The shops which deal with user things, the shops which deal with user things. You can see that in Hyderabad Koti market, they'll sell all the second hand books. If you want to buy any book, you can get from Koti second hand market. So the user things, they'll sell only user things. Those shops are known as second hand shops. And another category is seconds shop. What do you mean by second shop and second hand shop? Already we discussed that second hand shops deal with user things, whereas second shops does not deal with user things. They'll deal with the things which are slightly damaged at the time of production or at the time of transportation. Okay, the things which were damaged slightly will be sold in discount rates. That is second shop. And another category of retail, Indian retail, is based on ownership. So, based on ownership, what do you mean by ownership? How many people are working in a shop? It's different types of categories. You know that sole traders, partnership. What do you mean by sole trader? You are only a single person is putting capital, only single person is performing his activities, single person or along with his family members. Is he going to purchase, buying and selling activities are going to be done by that single person only. That is sole trader. And then partnership means two or more people come together to run a business. That is known as partnership. And here another type is cooperative stores. What do you mean by cooperative stores? Already this word is come across this word in Indian evolution of Indian retail, right? So what do you mean by cooperative stores? Cooperative society is a voluntary association which is formed for the welfare of the people of particular category. Okay, for example, we have different types of cooperative societies in our state. The Telangana State Cooperative Society, Pochampalli Weavers Cooperative Society, Khadi Society, so and so on cooperative societies we have. So under the society, they'll establish some stores in various places of the state or country. So through that stores, they will sell the goods to the people. The shopkeeper who is working in that shop is working only for the salary. He is not entitled for the profits. The profits of various stores under that cooperative society can be shared among all the people of all the members of that particular society. These work under the supervision of government, state governments. Okay, these are all the categories of Indian retailers of on the basis of ownership. What are they? Sole traders, partnership traders, cooperative stores, companies. These are all comes under this category. And then one more is based on place. What do you mean by based on place? So in my street down, I have a shop. I have seen a shop. A shopkeeper is sitting in his shop and he arranged the things whatever he had, and he used to sell from there itself. He is not roaming anywhere. He is not moving from that place. It is a fixed shop. It is a fixed place. So these type of retailers are known as fixed shop retailers. These type of the stores are known as fixed shop stores. So here you can see a person is sitting in the shop and he arranged vegetables and other provisions in his store, and he is continuing his performing his business from here. It seems he is not going anywhere. These are known as fixed shop retailers. And coming to another part, another type is itinerant retailer. Who is itinerant retailer? Itinerant means the person, the retailer who is not having fixed shop and fixed place is known as itinerant retailer. Means these are the people who are moving from one village to another, who is moving roaming among the streets of a particular place and to sell their products. In this we have different types. Who are they? Hawkers and peddlers, cheap jacks, street stallers. These are all the people. And periodical itinerants. What do you mean by hawkers and peddlers? So these people used to shout about their products and roaming throughout the streets to sell their products. Okay, and then one more is street sellers. What do you mean by street sellers? So these people used to sit in a particular place or junction where the people used to mobilize more to sell their product. And then one more is cheap jacks. The people who follow the persons who are walking in that way to sell their products. For example, if in Ikoti streets, if we are moving, we are going to complete our work, so many people will run along with us to sell their products. In railway stations, in bus stops, we can see such type of people. And then one more thing, cheap jacks, these are all comes under that only. And one more thing, whatever we have said, periodical itinerant retailer. What do you mean by periodical itinerant retailer? Name itself, we know, we are able to understand that they comes periodically according to the situation. If in times of Diwali we can see n number of stalls in every street to sell the crackers, isn't it? Are you able to see the stalls till now? No. They'll arrange the stalls for a short span of time when they are needed, badly required to the people. So periodically they arrange the shops, stalls, and after completion of that period, they'll remove the shops. So these are all periodically itinerant retailers. So we cannot expect more quality goods from these itinerant retailers. Itinerant means they are not having any fixed place, fixed shop. They are not having enough capital. So these itinerant retailers will not sell qualitative products, branded items. We cannot expect. They can sell only cheap products. Itinerant retailers, we can expect fruits, vegetable, flowers, etc. We can buy from them. But if you want to buy for branded goods, you can't go for this itinerant retailer. And then fixed shop retailers, in that fixed shop retailers, departmental stores also there. What do you mean by departmental store? Departmental stores are huge stores where the wide range of choice is available, where the wide range of variety is available, where the large amount of capital is needed, where the things are arranged organizingly, and where the division of work will take place. They eliminate middleman. So here, what do you mean by middleman? If I establish a shop for with 30 lakhs investment, do I arrange any mediator from me and between me and the whole manufacturer? No, I'll deal directly with manufacturer to purchase the goods. Whenever the eliminating of middleman was taken place, automatically the cost of the product will be less. So many examples we have, and according to the people availability of their time and their convenience, people will not able to go everywhere to fulfill their requirements. In one step, they wanted to fulfill their requirements. That's why most of the people are choosing departmental stores to fulfill their requirements. In ancient days, when the departmental stores are not existed, for rice they need to go for rice mills or rice traders. For pulses they used to go for pulses mills or pulses traders. For oil mills, and for different areas they need to go for to fulfill their requirements. But nowadays, because of these departmental stores, with single step they can complete their all needs, they can fulfill all their needs. It has some disadvantages also. Why? Because it needs a large area of infrastructural facilities, it needs a large huge amount of capital, operating costs are also high, the store is very big. That's why the owner, the departmental store owner may not have personal touch with the customer. These are all the disadvantages. And even though it has disadvantages, these stores are running very successfully. Why? Because people in this busy schedule, people are unable to go for various places to fulfill their requirements. And then one more is multiple shops. What do you mean by multiple shops? With one name, we are seeing the number of shops in cities and towns and everywhere. So, if you may see D-Mart, everywhere you can see the D-Mart. If you want to go for Reliance shop, in particular place it is fixed. Everywhere you can see n number of Reliance marts. You can see big bazaars. You can see. So these shops will work. These are all known as multiple shops or chain shops. These are all shops work under a single management. Uniformity, price uniformity. Whenever all the shops are working under single management, automatically the price uniformity is there. If D-Mart, LP Nagar D-Mart and Dilshana D-Mart and another place Vanaslipuram D-Mart, you can get the same price for same product. Price will not vary. So, and then here also we can get everything, pin to pen, everything we can get these multiple shops. And here also, as the management having owning n number of shops, chain shops, they won't entertain middleman. Directly they'll deal with manufacturer to run their business. These are all they sell the standardized products, not cheap products, qualitative. Why? Because they need, because faith is the first formula. Without faith, without belief, we can't run a business. That's why they will sell only standardized product. And then what are the disadvantages? It needs large capital, it needs storage facilities. As it has n number of shops, we need to provide, we need to arrange the stock for all the marts, and for them they need to store the stock for longer periods. It needs a huge amount of capital. Operating costs also high. Why? Because so many number of people are working under the single management. They need to pay the salaries and incentives, etc., etc. Operating costs are so very high. These are the advantages and disadvantages of multiple shops. Even though these multiple shops are running successfully for the convenience of the customer, they reach to the customer. These multiple shops are established in between the residential areas, which is reachable and affordable to all the people. And then actually in previously we discussed about the services of wholesaler to the retailer and manufacturer. Now the retailer, what are the services the retailer is providing to wholesaler and customer? What we will see now. So wholesaler, to wholesaler, what are the services he is providing to wholesaler? He creates place utility. For example, I am the wholesaler. I have lakhs of bales of cloth. Am I going to sell everywhere? No. Who is creating utility for my product? Retailer is creating utility my product. So he creates place utility. After producing goods in godown, there is no use. Wholesaler should pick the stock, and from wholesaler, if it is in his godown, is there any use? No. Retailer is finally making the goods to be reached to the final consumer. And personalized selling efforts, is wholesaler selling directly to the customer? No. Who is selling? Retailer. Retailer is having personal touch with the customer, so according to his efforts, he is putting utmost efforts to sell the goods. He is motivating the people to sell the goods. So he is having personal touch. According to his personal experience, he can guide the wholesaler. These type of goods are not suitable for my area, for that particular area. We can improvise the product, or you can reduce the cost. Like that, he can give the guidance, information to the wholesaler, and he is the source of market information. So which type of goods people are requiring will be known to retailer only. Why? Because he is only having personal touch with the customer directly. So he is the source of market information. He is not engaging any other people to get the information, market survey. Only the retailer is performing that duty. And advertising and promotion. What do you mean by advertising and promotion? We are seeing various posters in every shop, that Ashirwad Atta, Annapurna Salt, Surf Excel soap. So many n number of products will be displayed in the retail shops. Their hoardings and their advertisement papers, stickers are also can be seen in the retailer's shop. In that way, they are providing advertisement. They are giving advertisement the products of the wholesaler. These are all the services of retailer to the wholesaler. So, and then next, what are the services he is providing to the customer? For customer, how he is, if I may go to street side shop, I may not get all the things whatever I required, but in my mind, if I went to DMart, I'll get all the things, I can fulfill all my requirements. Means it is giving availability of services, availability of a variety to me. So who is giving that assurance to the customer? Retailer is only the person to giving assurance of availability of goods and wide range of variety. So they for example, if you a wholesaler deal with only a single brand, oil wholesaler, if we may take oil wholesaler, one wholesaler will deal with only Vijaya brand, one another is only with Fortune brand, another is only with Freedom brand. Do you know which one is good, which one you want to choose? To select, you need to go for these three dealers. But in this retailer shop, you have wide range of variety. He can show a number of varieties to you. The decision is up to you. Which type, which brand can be opted by you is up to you only. So he is providing that choice to you. And after sale services, after sale services is the utmost important service which is provided by the retailer to the customer. Now I went to a shop, some electronic shop. I purchased a washing machine. I paid amount and they delivered it to my home. It's enough. How to install it, how to operate it, I don't know. Who will make me learn? A technician will come to my home. Who will do the task? Who will bear the task? The retailer's responsibility. The retailer's responsibility to send the technician to my home, and he will come and he will install and give a live demo to me. So this is the utmost important service. If that after sale service is not good, if he may not come to my home, am I going to that X shop for next time? No, definitely not. I'll choose another shop. That's why now the retailers are very good in the after sale services and credit facilities. If I have personal touch with the retailer, definitely he will allow me credit. If I may go to the street side shop which is down to my street, Now I have only 500, but I need goods in the middle of the month. Some provisions I need, relatives to my home. Then I'll go to that shop and I'll pay that 500, but I brought goods for 1000 rupees. Remaining 500 I'll pay after receiving my next month salary. Means according to the personal relation, the retailer will allow the credit to the customer. Okay, not in that way. If you are going to purchase any electronic goods, the retailers are tying up with some financial institution. Nowadays in this global world, in this advanced technology, without having single NP, we can purchase anything in EMIs, easy monthly installments. This financial aid can be provided by the financial institutions, that also be done by retailer only. These are all the services which is provided by the retailer to the customer. Okay. And then what we learnt in this lesson finally? Meaning of trade, persons involved in trade, types of trade. Who are the persons involved in trade? Manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, and finally consumer. And types of trade, internal and external. And then internal trade features. What are the features? Should be done within the boundaries of the country, simplified documentations, less government interference, single currency, and mobility of factors. These are all comes under internal trade features. And then which is a type of internal trade? Wholesale trade. What do you mean by wholesale trade? Role of wholesaler, how he is providing services to the manufacturer and retailer, how he is working as a bridge. Already we discussed in this lesson. And evolution of, next coming to the retail trade, how the Indian retail trade has evoluted from weekly markets to supermarkets and malls. Already we discussed that. Classification of retail trade. What do you mean by classification of retail trade? On the basis of size, on the basis of ownership, on the basis of place, on the basis of handling goods. Already we discussed all these things. And we differentiated between departmental stores and multiple shops also. We had seen that advantages and disadvantages too in our topic. So from this lesson we can expect such questions. Now I am here giving some questions to you. According to this lesson you can clear the answers of these questions. After watching this video, try to answer all these questions. If you have any queries, please text to me. Definitely I'll clear you. Okay, what are the questions we can expect from this topic? Discuss types of trade. What are the types of trade? Internal and external. And giving the by drawing a flow chart, you can explain each concept in detail. That is enough for that question. Define trade and explain its features. Define trade. A definition of trade and its features. It is a long answer question. Discuss types of trade, also a long answer question. Explain a role of wholesaler. It's a short answer question. What do you mean by wholesale? First, trade and internal trade. The wholesale trade is a part of internal trade, and the person who deals with wholesale trade is known as wholesaler. And his role, what he will do, he'll purchase the goods in bulk, and he'll divide the lot in smaller units to sell the retailer. And what are the services provided by the wholesaler to retailer and manufacturer, we can write. And then what are the services of retailer to wholesaler? Retailer, wholesaler, which type of services is provided by the retailer, we can write. What are the advantages and disadvantages of departmental stores? And in the same way, advantages and disadvantages of multiple shops and various itinerant retailers. What are the itinerant retailer? The retailer who does not have fixed place, fixed shop to sell, continue his business is known as itinerant retailer. Types of itinerant retailers: cheap jacks, hawkers and peddlers, street sellers, periodical itinerant retailers. We can give definitions and examples of these types of itinerant retailers. And differentiate, this is a 2-mark answer. Differentiate second-hand shops and second shops. What is the difference between these two? Second shops are the shops which deal with second used things, but second shops deal with the things new which are slightly damaged at the time of production or at the time of transportation. That is only the difference we can give, and this is for 2 marks answer. Thank you children, thank you very much. Try to watch the video till the end and try to answer all these questions. If you have any queries, text to me in comment box. Thank you very much.